All right, guys. Welcome to Coach's Corner. I should probably put up my Coach's Corner banner, which I did a little while ago. Welcome to Coach's Corner, guys. This is the best part of the week, really how to learn. We have, well, not how to learn, but a topic dedicated every week based off our blog there, and the blog link is down there. This blog, or this Coach's Corner, is really dedicated to those of you that are guild leaders, officers in guilds, and you are preparing for Mythic rating. Now, Mythic rating, I mean, I'm excited. I'm absolutely ecstatic. Did I mention get t-shirts? Not yet, Blake. We'll sort that stuff afterwards. Put me in coach. And I'll answer everybody's questions here. Royal Clem, all that stuff. Okay, one sec. Before we get started, Clicker Heroes, whoever suggested Clicker Heroes, check it out. I hate you. I hate you. Lost a lot of sleep over Clicker Heroes, and you know, Clicker Heroes is addicting because of the kind of personalities we have. If you like to see your character grow and improve, and you like RPG games and advancement and upgrades and loot upgrades or whatever, you will like Clicker Heroes. You will lose lots of sleep. Please don't check it out. Please do not check out this stupid... It was probably Radiance, probably. Screw that guy. Time out, somebody. Yeah, lost a lot of sleep over Clicker Heroes. What a stupid game. Just dumb. I should have had it going the entire night today, or the entire stream. But no. Screw that thing. Anyway, so this blog is dedicated to improving yourselves, improving your guilds. It's not, too tech-oriented. It is more, motivational. It is more, based off of DJ's history, based off of that stuff. Close the browser and keep going. What? Okay, I'll figure it out later. I'm not checking out Clicker Heroes. Bad idea, Stitches. Bad idea. Very bad idea. Okay. Yeah, no. We're done with Clicker Heroes. We're totally done with it. Now, really, Mythic rating. I mean, you guys are all excited for Mythic rating. I'm excited too. But picture this. I remember this to this day. It is BlizzCon 2013. My biggest question going to the BlizzCon was, okay, regarding the disparity between 10 and 25 mans, what is Blizzard's solution to dealing with that? Like, how are they going to find the balance? That was my big question for BlizzCon. I wanted them to find some kind of balance between the 10-25 man heroics, because, some fights 10 mans are easier, some fights 25 mans are easier, and, 10 mans always bitch. So what was their solution? 20 man rating. Just Mythic rating was their solution, which was, heroic kind of setting of, just one consolidated difficulty. Just one thing to make it easier. No more 10 versus 25 mans. Because of the technology of flex, the previous normals and heroics would now be... the wrong spec here. The previous normals and heroics would now be flex, so they would scale from 10 to 30 people, which is fantastic. And the main new rating difficulty would be 20 mans. I was fucking excited. 25 mans out there were excited. We were like, holy shit, finally. Finally one difficulty without the 10 mans bitching and complaining. 10 mans are just kidding about you mostly. Thanks, Real Bye, for subbing again. Much appreciated. Thanks a ton. Thanks a lot. So we were ecstatic. We're just so happy. Yes, a lot of those guilds are thinking, yeah, we got to cut the last 5 people from our raid, the ones that are holding us back, the really weak ones. Super excited to do that, right? No, not exactly. I mean, it's never fun to cut raiders or friends or whatever. However you run your guild is fine. Now, similar thing happened back in TBC. We raided vanilla, a lot of us, some of you, very few of you really. And back then, it was 40-man raiding, but 40-man was a logistical fucking nightmare. I was the guild leader still back then. I had, a couple officers. I had, more veterans helping out, because it was way more work, dealing with loot. I had, so we had, 55 people in the guild, roughly. You had class leads for every single class. People that were sort of made for it, sort of not made for it. You made mistakes, learning who to promote, who not to promote, those kinds of people. Yeah, I mean, it was fun and it wasn't fun. It was mostly not fun. I mean, we ran a, loot council system still, which means we talked about all the loot, but we also ran a DKP tracker, which means we tracked everybody's hours rated to the 15-minute mark. So if you rated at, or you logged on at, I don't know, so we rated back then, 6 o'clock Eastern? You logged on at 6:05, well, I would treat it as, you logged on at 6 o'clock, and, yeah, we would track, quarter hour, so 0.25 points you would get in terms of like points. Points don't mean anything at all. Anyway, so it was a ton of work, like managing 55 people and personality conflicts and whiny bitches, and someone has issues with this and that. Basically, most of my time in Warcraft was spent sitting outside the Ironforge mailbox and just talking to people, whether it be recruitment or dealing with issues or whatever. I mean, it got to the point where it's such a full-time job and you're dealing with so many people, like you're a people problem solver, that you put the thing on your resume. And I did, for a number of jobs. It obviously wasn't called Death Jesters, my company, but I needed something else in my resume. And you're running a roster of 55 people, you're smoothing over personality conflicts, you're managing a collective collective guild funds, you are liaising between other companies as well, and that kind of stuff. Managing hiring, termination. I did everything, right? And people are like, oh, you run a nice business here. Obviously, because I'm fucking awesome. But no, yeah, I mean, if you're a guild leader, you can definitely put that kind of job on a resume, and more and more people are, as they recognize, what kind of job it is. It is a full-time job. Anyway, back to the point. So running those large-ass guilds was rough. Like, it was rough and time-consuming, and a lot of sacrifice had to be made. Some nights you'd be up, 3, 4 a.m. working out issues because, someone's unhappy with something, so you'd be up trying to fix those issues. You can't make everybody happy, which is fine, but you never stop trying to make everybody happy. Try to always smooth out whatever issues people have as long as they bring them to you. If they don't, well, fuck them. They can be a bunch of children. Right? No. One sec here. I need to retweet this. Thanks, Mimo. Sorry. Retweet. There we go. So people all have their issues, and yeah, you'd be up to 3, 4 a.m. working on that stuff, and then you have to work in the morning again. But that was the life of an officer, still is, and a guild leader back then. Those of you in 10-mans, I'm sure you'll agree, dealing with a small roster is so much easier. So much easier in a 10-man roster. So many fewer issues, less people to contend with, whatever. There's a giant spider walking over there.
Kill it! You suck at killing spiders. Do you know that?
Yeah, I know. I think Diablo squished him.
Oh my god.
Good job, Diablo. That's a big spider. Okay. Yeah, 10-mans, you guys have it easy. I mean, I'll be honest, compared to 25-mans, yes, being a guild leader, even a 10-man job is a bitch, but 10-mans have it easier, in just terms of logistics and working stuff out and whatever. What else? A lot less dedicated. What do you mean by a lot less dedication as well? And yeah, I'm grinding the achievement. Exactly, Robbie. Anyway, yes, back to guilds. So running the guilds is a lot simpler. In TBC, we understood that this change was for the better. So going from 40-man rating to 25-man rating, we're like, yes, this is great. A lot of people that were worried were the ones that were worried about their spots. But if you're a fucking awesome player, guys, you should not be worried about your spot. The ones that are worried are the ones that know they're performing not that great. Or the people that have confidence issues, and that's fine too. But the people that are not worried about their spots at all, like, yeah, I do solid DPS, I do solid healing, I know my shit, I know how to do logs, I'm not, doing anything stupid, I don't wipe raids, I don't really make mistakes. Like, if I make a mistake, it's like once a month, super rare. And, I know how to communicate, all that stuff. People that are like that, they're not worried about their spots at all. It's the ones that were, really performing not that great. The ones that were dying to Huygen all the time because of their crappy computers or their crappy movement skills. The ones that couldn't do, I guess Huygen, yeah. The ones that couldn't do CCs in Nax. The ones that couldn't be spread out in Sithun. Those were the guys that were worried. The Ryos, you guys remember the stories about Ryo? The Ryos of the guild, those were the worried ones. If you do a great job, and you do a great job, there's nothing to worry about, really, at all. Yeah, me too. Like, I'm so glad that 25-man argument is done. Like, it's so done. Yeah. What am I doing? I'm just farming, guys. I'm farming rep here for Ravenholt. It's going to cost, I'm going to have to farm another 1,000 of these things while I talk. So I'm doing something productive while I'm talking to you guys about Coach's Corner stuff for the insane title. Otherwise, I'm going to do Booty Bay as well next. I have 3 more reps to go. or 2 more reps to go. Both Blood Sales and Ravenholt, and I'm done. I get the insane title. Anyway, so yes, that's all done. I mean, it was good. It was good for the guild, good for the game to go down to a, I don't know, to a 25-man difficulty. It was just easier to run because there were so few 40-man guilds out there. With more 25-man guilds, it gave more people the chance to raid, because back in vanilla, very few raiders out there, very few guilds. Some guilds are raided very casually. They did a couple bosses in the, in every tier maybe, or they just, did pug stuff. I guess Pug Molten Core, not really, like Pug UBRS, right? But yeah, I mean, people thought that, yes, we're going to cut our fat. It's not necessarily true. Yes, you cut your fat, or you trim the guild, but you also trim a lot of good players when you break down in difficulty. So many guilds thought back then that, like, yeah, it's awesome, we trim the fat. I mean, what does trimming fat mean? It means you cut down your roster size of, like, you have your strong people that are holding the guild together, and then you have your, like, 10, 15 people that are sort of just coasting, just sort of like, yeah, I prep for fights the night before, yeah, I'll watch a video here or there, whereas the ones that are really dedicated, really ones that are putting in a lot of work, those are your core players. And a lot of guilds see these raid downsizes, 25-man guilds anyway, as a way to just get rid of those lazy-ass players, because they're holding your guild back. If you have more people that are of the same mindset, you foster that kind of community and that kind of mindset, and you recruit more players like that, which is, I mean, it's pretty much true. And this is starting with a 25-man setting. If you're in a 25-man guild, what you don't want to do is cut down to, 20 players. You have 25 people in your guild right now. I don't know how many people you have in your guild right now. In my guild currently, I have roughly 30-ish players. That includes applicants that are trials. Okay, roughly 30-ish players. No, Mythic is 20, man. Sorry, Mythic is 20. Not 25 or 10. It's 1 difficulty for endgame writing, and that's it. Driz. So, when you're thinking about your roster sizes, again, I have 30 people for a 25-man. I'm slowly, I'm not cutting anybody, but they're cutting themselves, and I'll explain that in a sec here. In your 10-mans, guys, those of you that run 10-mans, and the ones that are bitching about, like 10-man mechanics are harder, as I roll my eyes, how many people do you have in your roster? I'm guessing it's not 10. Like, I can pretty much guarantee you guys do not have 10 people in your... in your raid roster. Why? Because real life happens. You're in a heroic raiding guild, you have like 11, 12, maybe 13 people on your roster. Why? Because, somebody's stuck at work, somebody's dealing with kids, we're all getting older, like we have, shit happens in real life, right? Yeah, heroic, it'll be like flex, exactly. But it'll be flex between 10 and 30. Yes, same. Same thing, Jaded. So, keep getting distracted by you guys. Anyway, you don't want to have just the bare minimum. So if you're running a small roster, you're not going to say, okay, I'm going to cut, Dokazil, Shawmonster, Stitches, SK, and Zundir. Yeah, just randomly picking 5, 6 people here. I'm not going to cut those 5 people and keep Aloria for myself. Just to, cut my weakest players. You don't. You don't want to go in with just the bare minimum, and I'll tell you why. Whenever a new expansion comes out, new content comes out, there's always an influx of people that are coming back to the game. Right? People that are, been gone for a while. Like SK was gone for, I don't know, he was gone for months. He's back now to the game. World's Trainer coming out soon. I've got guys that haven't been on in months. They show up, sometime because they're all retired. Like, they're casual players. They did their waiting time with me years ago. Now they're still in the guild because why not? So a lot of those guys will just come back to see content, check things out. They might come back to raiding, they might not. But you can't count on those players to come back to join your raid team, even though they said so. Even though so, you had this awesome hunter that is a lawyer, and he said, yeah, I plan to come back. Or you have a mage that, is planning on coming back, maybe, but he's got to deal with his work schedule and that kind of stuff. He's been planning on coming back for years, but he hasn't. You can't count on those people to come back. It's not going to happen. So a lot of them do come back to play, which helps you, in a sense, in terms of like the early content, dungeons, and that kind of stuff, and doing guild things together. But you can't count on them to raid. Some of them come back and they do rejoin your guild to raid, which is great. A lot of them don't. As well, in the expansion, a lot of people just quit. You know what? Like, I'm done with Warcraft. My real life is moving on. I'm getting married. I'm having kids. I've got a new work schedule coming up. I'm just done with Warcraft. I hate Blizzard. I hate what they've done to the game. I hate that they've dumbed it down. Whatever people want to make excuses for, I don't care. Excuses or reasons, whatever you want to call them. And people quit. It's going to happen. You know, I've had people quit on me 1 hour before the expansion comes out. Like, I'm waiting for Cataclysm. No, Mists of Pandaria. Yeah, end of Cataclysm. I'm waiting for Mists of Pandaria to come out. We're all, you know, there online, ready for it to roll over. And the guy talks to me and says, hey man, I'm going to join my friend's 10-man guild. Like an hour before the expansion comes out. Awesome. Very awesome. After we had, you know, a roster set up, you know, and who's re-rolling to monks, that kind of stuff. So, stupid. Anyway, so a lot of people will quit. So you're going into your roster of 20 people, people are going to quit. Suddenly, so-and-so says, you know what? I hate what the game's become. I don't want to raid anymore. And now you're down to 19 people. And now guess what? You can't raid Mythic raiding with 19 people. You can do, you know, heroic raiding, which is flex, right? But you can't deal with Mythic 19 people. Good fucking luck, right? You don't have the gear, especially early on the expansion. So, solution to this? Bloat. You have to go into the expansion with enough people to deal with natural attrition. Natural attrition is people just falling off because they're done with the game. Again, you know what I explained earlier. People just finishing. And expect those guys to quit. You know, I'm expecting one of my mages to quit. He told me he's done as of like 6.0 or whatever. If we need help, he'll help us out. But he's done, so which means I need to replace a mage. I have other guys that may or may not make it. You know, a lot of our apps, some of them are really fantastic apps, but they haven't really been tested on progression content. You know, farm content is one thing when you test your apps. Farm content's easy. You've done it multiple times. All they have to do is follow instructions, look at the spreadsheet, they're totally done. If guys are having trouble on farm content and getting shit together, they're going to have a world of hurt on progression. So guys that have it easy, though, on, you know, farm content, well, that's great, but farm content is easy. They can clearly follow instructions, which is great. You know, 6-year-olds can do that too. Really, though, I'm extending a lot of my apps, and I'll sort of show you here. My apps. A lot of these apps, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A lot of them I'm extending into Worlds of Draenor to really test them on progression. I don't expect all of them to make it. You know, it's limited spots. I've got like 5 mage apps. I've got, you know, 2 mage spots. I know some of them won't make it. Some of them won't pull their weight. Some of them are just not going to ready or prep. Like, they've just not experienced progression at this level. But I will give them the chance to prove that they have what it takes. Also, that allows me to sort of have that bloat in case, you know, Dries quits, or I don't know, somebody else that is important quits, to give me some time to replace them. Okay, and here, good question here by Edward. Sparty, a lot of my raiders in my guild are growing tired of raid content. That's fine, because Siege of Orgrimmar has been out for a year now. I'm finally getting tired of it too. And we can't really form a full guild group. What do you suggest? Are you like full? Have you cleared everything, Edward? Are you working on heroics? Should our guild just recruit for Worlds of Draenor and stop heroics for the most part? It depends. I mean, it depends on what you're after. Like, are you looking to finish content? If you're working on Garage right now, there's a good chance you can still finish Garage. If you're working on, you know, Gallicrass Techfire, I know, congrats on Gallicrass, by the way. If you're working on Gallicrass right now for Heroics, there's a small chance, probably, I mean, not a good chance, you will finish Heroic Garage before Worlds of Draenor. You know, if you guys want to keep raiding, then I would keep recruiting right now. If people quit on you now, they're quitting on your team. Yes, content sucks and it's boring and it's been around forever, but it's a team game, right? They're going to get replaced. Either you make the decision of, yes, we're going to keep raiding and we're going to replace people that are quitting on us, or you say, you make a collective decision of, no, we're done raiding, people can pug stuff, we'll resume in Worlds of Draenor. But knowing that, Edward, a lot of the guys that want to come back in Worlds of Draenor, they will not be back. I guarantee they will not be back. They say they want to be back, but they will not be back. And that's speaking from 10 years of experience. Shit will happen. You know, whatever will happen. Good night, Robbie. Yeah, Hens will not be raiding anymore, Uther. Why is the stream delay so bad? Yeah, so you got to make that decision for yourself. What else? Expect, yeah, people bored. Now, how large should your... I talked about 10 mans in a sec here, but how large should your roster size be? Well, it depends on a number of factors. It depends on your progression. It depends on how much you want to raid. Some guilds that want to raid, 25 hours, 16, 20 hours a week, whatever, they may have a larger roster size. Why? Those guilds are raiding, 4 days a week. With raiding 4 days, there is a greater chance that something real life will happen, basically, and you are missing some of your raiders, which means you need replacements. I don't have a bench on my team. I know other guilds do. They have the bench, people sort of waiting to get in if somebody's not around. I don't have it that way. Everybody, gets to raid. Everybody rotates on bosses. I rotate on bosses. Sometimes you swap out, sometimes you swap in, but it is a small roster. But it also allows us to deal with real life as it occurs. Tank on vacation, healer on vacation, somebody stuck at work, you need to have that kind of bloat. You got to determine if you're raiding 2 days a week. Well, 2 days a week is pretty decent. For a mythic size roster, depending on the composition, healers, that kind of stuff, maybe you only want 23 people on your roster, or 24, knowing that some will swap out, some will not be there. 2 people missing on a given raid night because of whatever reason. Maybe you're a little bit more casual. Maybe you're a 2-day raid night or 2-day raid guild, but you require 100% attendance, which means you'll have a smaller raid team, which also means the fewer people you have in your mythic guild, loot gets funneled into fewer players, means the relative power of your guild is increased. You are a stronger guild because your items are spread over fewer people. Determine the size of your guild. Mine, I'm looking to have, 26 players maybe in Mythic. I'm still recruiting some to replace some. I'm looking, just to finalize my roster to see what I'm really happy with. Some classes I'm super happy with. I know they don't plan on going anywhere. An example of that is like Schaumburg and Notaro. They're great players. They're fantastic. They rarely ever make a fuck up. They're on for testing. They're dedicated. They're the guys that help out with the community. They do other stuff. I talked to Schaumburg the other day. He was playing Diablo with Carito and Lurchi, 2 of my other players. Those are guys that I'm not going to recruit unless they're going to quit. And I know they would let me know ahead of time if they're going to quit. I have no interest in replacing them at all. Other classes really gotta just prove their worth and not become complacent. Our bench might have been 1 person if we were lucky. We have to take some pretty low DPS. That's the thing though. I don't want to, I've had to sometimes the guild people quit. People were quit. We didn't have enough people for heroic raiding. This was back in Cataclysm, so we had to ask our casual players, our 10-man, to help merge with us for a couple weeks so that we could continue keep raiding, keep progressing, keep gearing our guys up. That's all. It depends on your mythic raid size. And now, with 10-mans have... Yes, I feel for you 10-mans. Yes, things are harder in 10-mans because the argument 10-mans always make, and I know I shouldn't get into this, but I will, is if one person makes a fuck up, you're going to die, right? If one person dies, you know what? This is heroic raiding. This is not like sissy Care Bear raiding. If somebody fucks up in a 25-man, you're going to wipe. You make a mistake in a 25-man, you're going to wipe. It doesn't matter, okay? It does not matter at all. Now, 10-mans undoubtedly have the more difficult feat of, okay, fuck, you know what? Our guild is 12 people, mythic rating is 20, we want to raid mythic rating. What are we going to do? Well, we need 12 more people in the guild, right? We've got to double our raid size, which is pretty much true. You need to double your raid size unless you plan on, carrying a lot of alts and off-specs and that kind of stuff. You're just going to need more people. Well, how to get more people? I'll cover recruitment next week with our next blog of WoW Progress and, how to recruit for guilds properly. But what do you guys do? What do you do in a 10-man? Well, the easiest thing is just merge with another guild, right? You've got your own little, your solid 12-man core for your 10-man guild, and, well, why don't we take that other guild that's sort of really weak and get them to merge with us? Sounds like a good idea, right? It usually is. It sounds like a really good idea, but it's often too good to be true. Mergers, for the most part, I don't really want to put a number to it. Mergers often do not work. I never recommend mergers. Sometimes they work, and there's been a couple of great situations here where mergers have worked well, but mergers for the most part do not work well at all. You know, you think they do initially because, I don't know, so and so, like you're progressing so quick, and suddenly your two 10-man teams have gone to 25-man, and you're getting so much more loot, and things are so much easier because 25-mans are so easy, and so many people can die, and so many people can fuck up. But mechanics, no, not exactly. Yes, you might make short-term progress in terms of killing new bosses. However, with mergers though, like you got to deal with personality clashes. You have two guilds that had completely different, or I mean even similar social structures, rating styles, guild chat styles, whatever. You put them together in one guild. Well, okay. Things that often creep up. You have the guild that joined your guild. They sort of feel left out. They haven't been around in your guild as long. They have their own clique. It's them and then your old guild, your old guildies. Often not enough time or effort is put into integrating everybody, breaking down cliques right away, which is why part of the reason group apps are often denied by guilds. You don't want to have that clique of players, or clique as you Americans call it, of players just being separate from everybody else. Group apps also generally don't work. Then you have the other issue of, okay, well, the previous guild leader that joined your guild, he's now an officer, but he's also an officer over your old players, right? There's tons of drama and personality conflicts, and people are just giant big babies, very often. That's a lot of the people that have been giving me feedback on their own merges and that kind of stuff. And I've seen a lot of mergers just fail over the years. So again, mergers definitely don't recommend them. They often don't work. Sometimes they do, and sometimes everybody has the same team mentality, and they're all sort of friends, and yeah, we used to be two different guilds, but now we're one guild, and we're one guild under the same banner, and yes, that's what it should be, but more often than not, it is not like that. People still have those feelings of being in separate guilds, and mergers aren't that great. Yeah, you can assimilate people. You want to be the guild assimilating because you're generally the stronger guild. Another great example is Midnight Sanctuary. Midnight Sanctuary was a guild run by this, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Shady Casting. Shady Casting was a great GM. Midnight Sanctuary was a great guild. They were, good people. They raided after midnight. They were solid. I mean, they had issues here and there, but like every guild, right? They chose to merge with another guild called, I can't remember them, Chromatic Sanctuary. The other guys were, pretty decent players. Again, they raided after midnight, so their times were pretty decent. Except a lot of the new guys, they were just giant assholes. They were dickholes. They were just dicks. They were just giant jerks. And I talked to the GM, hey man, these guys are really representing your guild in a really bad way. They're assholes to everybody. Two guilds like mine, plus the general populace. They're elitist jerks, man. They're terrible. He's like, yeah, I know, I'm trying my hardest here, and it was just giving that guild a bad reputation, and reputations are sometimes all you have in the game. How you act, how you treat other people. Sometimes that's all you have, and I mean, he sort of succumbed to yeah, but they're needed for progression. Yeah, these guys are assholes and they're dicks, and the druid or the monk or whatever, they're just jerks, but I need them for progression. And I'm like, you know what? I disagree with you. I don't think it's good for your guild. I let him know how I felt about it. I wasn't going to call him a moron, obviously, but I let him know that I really disagreed. And what happened? He got burnt out so quick. Within a month, he was done. He's like, you know what? I quit the game. I'm done. I'm selling this account. I'm done guild leading. And then what happened? Well, the assholes took over the guild, and then the name wasn't so great. So, yeah. No, we're not going to claim this stuff. How about we time yet? So, then, I mean, the guild still raids now. I haven't kept up with Midnight Sanctuary or whatever's going on there. Yeah, I don't keep up with the gossip or drama. So, mergers often don't work. I guess it worked for the guild, sort of, because... who did I kill? Oops. Because the guild's still around and they're still raiding, but they really lost their identity of what they were. I mean, the personality of DJ hasn't really shifted at all, changed much since we were founded, over 10 years ago. I had an old guild leader back in Vanilla who put me in the timeout rank simple because I was talking too much in guild chat. God forbid I have a conversation with a few people. I don't know the context of that there, BGer. It could be like you're one of those, giant attention whores that must keep talking to everybody. Hey guys, what are you doing? Hey man, what's up? Hey man, can you guys help me with this? Can I have some gold? I don't know the context of it. Or your guild leader was power tripping, or, really they should have just, how you should have handled it, or they should have handled it? They should have just talked to you. Hey man, can you keep the guild chat spam down a little bit? Just simmer down a little bit, please. Because you are spamming guild chat a little bit. And you respond with like, hey, I'm just trying to talk to everybody, be friendly, be social. And he'd say, yeah, you know what, you are, but, within reason, try to take something to tells, we're trying to have a conversation in guild chat too. That's how you deal with things as an adult, rather than just timing somebody the fuck out. Hey, Ginger Cuss. Hey, Sego. He transferred off my server and stole his name. You sound like both adults. You sound great. Anyway, so back to mergers. Mergers are not the way to go. What's the best way to go? So, how do you recruit going from 10 man to 20 man? It's tougher. But how did you guys in your 10-man guilds find 10 people? How did you make that 10-man guild grow? How did you recruit? You looked for people that were like-minded. You looked for people that were like you, that had the same goals in mind, same kind of raid schedule. You talked to them, you made friends with them. You built your little core of little raiders, little Care Bear raiders, and you made your 10-man guild, right? Same thing you must do in a 10 to 20-man setting. Recruit slowly, recruit, the people that you want. When I cover recruitment next week, I will say this, that it's not worth bringing an elitist dickhole to your guild if they're an awesome player. It will hurt your guild long term. And I've cut tons of people that were not team players. You think about yourself here, your loot, things not fair. You think about, your DPS or your healing only, or it's only everybody else's fault and never yours. That's selfish mentalities. You talk behind people's backs. That is no. You're just out. You're done. Absolutely no room. I don't care if you're my best fucking player, the most active player, the best overall. I don't care if you're a main tank. You're done. There's no room for those kind of personalities in raiding guilds. There's only room in their own guilds if they want to be part of a bunch of elitist assholes like that. Yeah, I've let tons of people go like that over the years. A couple this last expansion because they were a cancer and they're just not worth having in your guild. I had 2 monks G quit after losing out of trinkets as Biggie Burrito. Like, does loot not drop every week? What is the fascination with loot? Yes, you're all going to get upgrades. Did the guild get an upgrade, Biggie Burrito? Biggie Burrito says yes. The guild got 2 upgrades. We got 2 trinkets, or we had 1 trinket, whatever drop. That's fantastic. So your guild improved, right? Yes, Sparty. But the monks, they didn't get loot? Oh, okay. So are they not going to get loot next week, or the week after, or whenever the next trinket drops? Yeah, because so many items drop, guys. It's ridiculous. It's to be G quitting over loot in this day and age. No, there was more loot drop when there were 40 mans and 2 pieces of loot would drop. You guys think you guys have it bad in 10 mans? Yeah, a lot of loot is wasted, but in a 40-man setting, 2 items would drop. 2 people get an item. Good luck with that. Good luck dealing with, the bunch of babies that... Yeah, anyway. When an application asks you for references, what does that mean? That means previous guild leaders, previous raid leaders, previous officers, other friends in guild, people that you've raided with that can vouch for your personality, or you not being a giant derptard. That's what it refers to, hashtag. Hey, Clipper. We're just talking about you. Come Wrath, I enjoyed some really awesome guilds that made the raiding experience much more enjoyable. That's good. You gotta find guilds that work for you. Anyway, back to 10-man guilds. So recruit people that are like-minded like you. That being said, though, you have your 10-man guild of 12 people, you recruit a 13th, a 14th, a 15th. Okay, well now you're still in a 10-man guild, still doing Siege of Orgrimmar, but you have 15 people on the roster. Half of your guild, or a third of your guild is sitting out right now, right? Now you have 16 people and 17 people in your roster. Okay, now 7 people of your 17 are sitting out. Those people that are sitting out, the entire guild needs to understand that it's a team. It is a team mentality. And they have to understand that we're building a 20-man roster. People are going to sit out. You know what? You're going to sit up for 4 bosses. It's going to happen, but the end goal is there, a Mythic 20-man raiding. We're trying to build our roster, like, somebody's a loot whore, somebody wants to raid more, that's fine, let them raid more. That's okay. But they really need to understand that the guild's going to be, overloaded on people in a 10-man setting. You're going to have way too many. Maybe you want to go to a 25-man first, and then drop down to a 20-man. That might be the easiest thing. Oh, the spider's back.
Fucking kill it.
But what did the spider ever do to you?
It lived.
Maybe Diablo will crush the spider. I'll play down and show this on stream. There you go, it's dead. Diablo killed it. Okay. Anyway. When I was an app to DJ Sparty passed on tier to me, it freaked me out. Why would that freak you out? You're just fucking evil. Yeah, Diablo killed the spider. Now there's a... You have to watch the curtain now. There is spider guts in the curtain. Just like that's gross now. In what guild do healers have priority? I don't think in any guild. Unless disc priests are amazing. I can't remember, when did Aloria even apply to the guild? I don't even remember. Which is probably better. I want Driaz with this one. Spiders need to go. They don't... Like... Okay, quick little aside here for those of you that are DJs. Why do you perpetuate that spider thread? There's a thread on our guild forums. It's titled, For All Those Who Love Spiders. And it's pictures of spiders, videos of spiders. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? And you stop laughing. Like, the first one that... my guild made, I locked it. I locked the thread on my forums. Like, no, you're not showing pictures of spiders. Spiders are terrible. Not allowed. Spider bro. Spider bro, no. Oh, man. Yeah. So. The spider thread is fucked and needs to go away. Yes, it does. Yeah, it absolutely does, Central. Anyway, I hope you're feeling better, Central. Hopefully, things are good with you. Spider. Oh look, this little mini spider is so cute. Look at these little eyes that it has. No, spider's not okay. Okay, back to raiding and 10 men. So you have to build that roster slowly but surely. Merge is not the way to go because you have different, social guilds, different social structures. It's too much of a risk. Like, it's a huge risk. Sometimes mergers will work out. Most of the times they don't. Building your 10-man guild slowly but surely is the best way to do it. Now, there's a good tool here for sort of managing your guild, and I show this on my blog as well, but here is Guild Audit. Here is... No, it's not showing it. Okay. Here is Guild Audit. Now, this shows you, and I updated this recently, this shows you my guild right now based off their item level, specs, whatever. Like right now here, I've logged out as Ret, I need to log out as Holy. Driaz is logged out as Disc, that's fine. But it shows you, everybody based on their item level. So these are my guys that are 588. Let me zoom in here, or zoom in for you guys to get to see a little bit better. So you see Marksman, Driaz, Dexter, they're all 588. Lurchy's 588 here. It shows you their name, their spec, their role, so range, melee, heals, whatever, their rank in the guild. Here, they're sorted by rank. Sorted by item level again. Shows you the percentage of items they've upgraded. This is an audit. This audit basically tracks what they have not upgraded. You see Psycho here is missing a gem and a main hand enchant 5 days ago. So, I mean, it's a little bit buggy with armory being buggy. But it's there. I mean, it's to track everything. He hasn't upgraded his main hand yet. Hopefully that'll be done for the next raid. I'm sure it will be. Here, what else? So Central right here is logged out as Survival. If I switch over this to Survival, it'll switch him around there. He's not Survival, no more little exclamation mark. So this shows you your entire guild here, item level. Again, if you're a guild leader or officer tracking, like, which of these assholes are not upgrading their shit. We're wiping at 1%, and you're telling me our DPS are not upgrading their gear. Well, this is how you know which ones are sort of not putting their shit together. Aloria needs to upgrade her main hand and her offhand. What? Oh. You have a Gaze of Arrogance you haven't upgraded, Aloria? Or maybe your Armory's a little bit buggy. She probably has upgraded it, but it hasn't upgraded or updated properly on Armory, which is why it's a little buggy. But, I mean, this was the whole purpose of it during Siege of Orgrimmar, during Mists of Pandaria, this guild audit website. Again, play around with specs, whatever. Here it shows you the item levels of the other guys. My apps are generally down below here. Perkinji, Brute. I mean, Karnak is a mystery for everybody's logged out as Brewmaster. Brewmemphis is one of our apps as well, but everybody should be upgrading their gear. It's not to call people out. I know it's a little bit buggy here. I'm sure Laura's got her shit together. The more important thing of Guild Audit right now is these statistics. How many warriors, paladins, and this is more 25-man guilds, but 10-man guilds can also help you pay attention to this. Your class distribution of how many warriors, paladins, hunters, rogues, whatever you have in your guild right now. It shows you I have 9 cloth DPS, which is fine. How many melee leather DPS, caster melee DPS here. So the caster DPS is likely going to be Zundir, our balance. The leather mail DPS are your Windwalkers, my 3 rogues, and my feral. That's all 5. Male physical DPS, which is my enhancement shaman and my 3 hunters that are active right now. Male caster DPS, my 1 elemental shaman, plate DPS, whatever. Right? That tracks everything for you. So this gives you a rough breakdown. This is also more accurate in terms of tracking item level. So, quick little aside here, 572 is the average item level for guilds to kill Heroic Garrosh, during progression. The top 50 guilds in the US, we were all around 572, 573-ish to kill Heroic Garrosh. My guild's item level now is 586.5, and that's that's including my apps here. Some of them see Heroic Garrosh, some don't, right? So it's more accurate though. It doesn't track your alts or whatever other garbage. It is more accurate than WoW Progress. It tells you how many armor tokens, so 10 Vank, 10 Prot, 10 Conk, which I thought was really odd when I looked at this earlier. Raid buffs that you're bringing here, how many healers. I have 5 healers right now. 2 plate healers, myself with Photon. I have Branhista, Karnak as a Mistweaver, and Iloria as a Disc Priest. Those are my 5 healers right now. Going into Mythic, I'm probably going to have 6-ish healers. You guys can go back between Shadow and Disc. I don't think you like healing in World's Arena, do you? Mm. She says meh. I think she likes Shadow more anyway. And we have, a couple Shadow Priests. It's too many. Honestly, it's too many Shadow Priests right now.
It's not.
Shadow Priests are going to be awesome, though, in World's Arena. They'll be pretty solid, which is fine with me.
You don't even have to fucking heal us.
You don't have to what?
I'll tell you later.
Okay. So, your raid debuffs as well, physical vulnerability, magic stuff. So, same thing that's, this add-on right here. This is called Raid Checklist. This shows you who's bringing what buffs, crit strike, attack power, attack speed, who brings spell power to a raid. Well, these 4 people, Arcane Brilliance, Mages do, Shamans do, Warlocks do with their Dark Intent, and Hunters do with their Water Strider pet. So this shows exactly what buffs you're bringing. In terms of, breakdowns, raid buffs, that kind of stuff. So, this is a good tool to determine your future raid size for Mythic. I'm using this tool still to start bringing down my raid time, my raid roster. You see Hensington on the list anywhere here? No, he's not. He's not on my list at all, right? So, I know he's not going to be raiding with us. I ignored him, right? There are some people that ignored Natsu, Ani Druid, probably not going to be bad, so we'll see. Anyway, that is Guild Audit. It is a useful tool. Use it for what you need. There might be a couple other tools out there, but, use them. Use them to help shape your Mythic roster. And this little add-on is called Raid Checklist. It shows you whatever buffs. Oh, I don't know if I have an AoE stun in my group right now. We'll click AoE stuns, Warrior Shockwave, Warlock Shadow Fury, and it shows you exactly what abilities they are. Leg Sweep, one of the best AoE stuns. 5 yards, 5 seconds. So, there you go. That is AoE stuns for that one. Yeah, so you're able to go through the checklist and that kind of stuff, and you're able to maintain that balance. Yes, Resto Druids are fantastic. Yes, Holy Priests are amazing. But do you really want to stack that many of them in your guild, in your raid? I pretty much guarantee that, the top guilds, I don't guarantee. I think Rignoros was talking about his healer comp in the future. I didn't catch his stream because I don't watch him. But a lot of the guilds are being very hush-hush in terms of their healing comps. Paladins are very weak right now. Paladins are not fun to play. Paladins are, blah, blah, blah. A lot of Paladins are leaving to play Druids, right? Or they're Holy Priests, which is what you need to do to be a Mythic Raider. I may go Retribution, which means Photon can heal, and we don't need, 2 garbage Holy Paladins in the raid, which, is better for the raid overall.